Welcome to the Steve Reeve Podcast with the best moments from the past week and a few things that didn't make it to air. Monday.
Went through a rite of passage last night, and it was not because we were building a dresser. Finally, after, I'm not kidding, years of trying dressers on the buy and sell, the marketplace, trying second, third, fourth hand dressers, and then just falling apart every single time. We finally said, you know what, we gotta just buy new. We gotta buy a new one. So of course comes in the boxes, IKEA style, assemble at your own risk kind of thing. And we don't do too badly in my household with that. Me and my significant other, we actually, do a little bonding over that instead of the relationship testing fights that come along with it. But no, I digress. It was the fact that we both pre-Robaxed. That's the only way that I can possibly describe it. We pre-Robaxed before the task of building the dresser. And I mean, substitute the building of the dresser with any kind of household physical activity where you're going to be lifting some things and screwing things together in awkward positions. And the necessary task was have the Robax set before the actual activity happens, instead of afterwards, instead of reactionary. And it just struck me how middle of my 30s I am now. It's occurred. Pre-Robaxing, a prerequisite now. Iggy Pop in the news because he is turning down the Grammys, specifically saying, I hate those people. They want me to be in an exhibit in their museum or something. He's got a troubled relationship from the past, but it was basically in 2020 that he was listed among the chosen recipients of the Lifetime Achievement Award. And he told Classic Rock magazine, they kept wanting to talk to me on the phone and kept telling my manager, I don't want to talk to them. And the rest is, kind of history. And did say that, without him, the people from the Grammys representatives were saying that without him, there's no Lil Nas X, there's no Billie Eilish, none of the younger artists that are out nowadays. And, well, part of that is true. Part of it also does feel like pandering, and Iggy Pop kind of feels the same. Radiohead getting back together in 2023 as well. They do say that in the early year, they're looking at ideas for what comes next, which is just very vague, but very welcome news for fans of the band. Is the celebrity freebie actually legit and binding in your mind? Talking about this with a friend over the weekend, they were talking as if it was a given that, should the odds relent and you not only got to meet your top celebrity crush, but that you actually played your cards right, or at least hit the right place and right time of all time and got the chance to sleep with them. Got the consent that you could just go right ahead and do it, consequence-free, right? I don't know about that. I take it much more like a thought exercise, a fun way of kind of talking about, revealing a little bit about what you find attractive with your partner or with friends or whatever, whether totally fitting for your personality or kind of surprising. Either way. But you can't just joke around with your partner about the celebrity freebie and then just go ahead and do it, right? Am I wrong about that? Can you? At least make a quick phone call to get the clearance. Or to break things off respectfully if they say no. Right?
Tuesday.
I was reading that people from Western Canada are mystified by the bagged milk of the eastern side of the country. And to be fair, we don't really have it anymore. So many people were never exposed to it, for sure. But maybe it was just because we had a lot of mouths to feed in my family and the money had to stretch. But we totally had bagged milk in the fridge when I was young. I have memories of it for sure. Vivid memories. Snip the corner or, hack at it with a blunt butter knife on occasion. It doesn't pour very well when you do that, but still, it opens and it does pour. You can get a glass of it. You would also pour it from inside the specially designed milk bag jug. The milk bag jug was a key piece of the equipment in the kitchen, which, after the milk bag stopped being sold, became the Kool-Aid jug. Perfect size for Kool-Aid, too small for the frozen cylinders of juice from concentrate. You know what I mean? That was the age. Hey, did you also wonder when you were a kid where this concentrate place was? Stationed outside the strip club in Las Vegas anymore, but during the Consumer Electronics showcase, whatever, that was going on in Vegas over this past weekend, there was a giant robot bouncer outside of a strip club on the strip in Las Vegas. Just saw photos of it. This thing's gigantic. If you've ever played the game Cyberpunk 2077, it is exactly like walking around Night City in that game. Just walking down all kinds of brightly colored strips of entertainment entertainment, right? There's neon lights everywhere, people giving you flyers to go check out this show and that show, and this one's not for the kids. And then you stumble across a giant, bigger than a car robot that's like, give me your license, show me your ID, photo identification, please. Yeah, that's not exactly like the night out I'm going to be wanting from going to Las Vegas. I think a little bit more low-key, but still, I would be fascinated, though. If I did see this while drunk on the Strip, I would be waking up in the morning, scratching my head, trying to fight off that hangover, being like, what did we get up to last night? Was this like the Hangover 4, but with robots this time? Actually kind of pretty cool. The more I think about it, the more I like it.
You're listening to the Steve Reeve Podcast from 100.5 Cruise FM.
Great songwriter, but certainly somebody who's had a bit of contention in our part of the world. Neil Young is in the news again because he's been talking about songwriting as an art form, as well as his favorite songs, not just the ones that he's put out and he's written and worked on, but his favorite songs in general, with a rare new interview with Conan O'Brien. And he also talks about one of his very first appearances with a late night talk show host, the Johnny Cash show, not any of the other Johnnies, but he said he was petrified back in 1971 when he was sitting down on that show. And he was 23 years old at that time when he was singing Old Man instead of when he was actually just, an old man. Morrissey is delayed and postponed a few more dates. He was supposed to be headlining a show as part of a tour he's got through Europe through 2023. And then also announcing a new headline show. Tickets are going to go on sale for that on Friday for those who are, obviously in that part of the world. But I hope that it comes with some insurance for sure. It's a little bit of a gamble to go and try and check out a Morrissey show, and perhaps in more ways than one.
Wednesday.
I do try to keep an open mind as well in general. You should always strive to at least be open to other opinions, other experiences, other people in general. But I am absolutely incensed by this. I am upset by this list of dating terms, glossary of terms for you for dating in 2023. I mean, they also say that online dating has its busiest day on January 8th for the entire year. People looking to warm up a little bit, I think, right? Here are some of the terms that I've read for dating in 2023. Consciously couponing, conflabbing, double dutching. Okay, well, I know what that is. You share the bill. Thawing, scrumming, hesitating, cannonballing, and more. Why do we need to make up dumb words for this? Why? Just describe what it is. Hesitating is just taking it slow. That's what that is. Thawing? That just means that you were busy before and now you're trying to see if maybe a match you made on an app or in person or wherever is actually still heating up, is still warm, is still ready to go. I do think that the reason, a major reason at least, that January 8th does seem to be the busiest online dating day of the year is because you do the math. That's just over a month out from Valentine's Day. That's enough time that you'll get a gift, right? Like, that's enough time that you can expect a little something, something. Foo Fighters, we already talked about this a little, so we'll really quickly re-announce that they are going to be performing again. Of course, at the end of the year, they did say, into a new year, it's going to be different for them after the passing of Taylor Hawkins, but they will be back. They will be continuing to perform, and that's absolutely true of 3 different festival announcements they're going to be a part of. There's the Boston Calling Festival, which is first up. There's Bonnaroo as well. They're going to be stopping by just a few others throughout the summer that have already been announced, and more to come, of course. David Bowie, it was the 7-year anniversary of his passing yesterday. He died, of course, in 2016, January 10th, after living with cancer for nearly 2 years. He had released his 26th album, Black Star. It was on his birthday, 2 days before he actually passed away, that the album was released. There we go. And his 22-year-old daughter released a never-before-seen clip of her as a child with David Bowie being taught how to play the piano. Very adorable, very, very touching. The big question today, what is your favorite flavor combination that's weird, man? Weird. Make me go, ugh. This one kind of does. I don't know if I really love it. I love the 2 different flavors, but a lot of people actually were in there in the chat going, peanut butter and pickles. Some people saying sandwich, like some people saying on bread or alone. So good is the rating on that. Chocolate ice cream with zesty cheese chips dipped into it. Peanut butter and bologna sandwich. Not for me. Not for me. Cheese and jam on toast. Okay, depends on the selections, but yeah, I could be there for it. Zesty cheese Doritos with herb and garlic cream cheese. You're just picking winners and putting them together on the same team there. That is what a coach is supposed to do. That's good choices, Vicky. I'm there for you. And so many other ones. Peanut butter getting in there a lot. Not really so good for those who are allergic to it, but there's all kinds of other ones. Let me know what your weird flavor combination is so we can judge you and also be curious.
Thursday.
Aliens, man, aliens. They're gonna be coming. Well, okay, that's not really the story. The story is that we're looking for them. NASA made big announcements just recently. There was a big meeting of the American Astronomical Society, and apparently it was like standing room only at this conference, at this talk, this meeting. And I guess there's plans now to build a new device that's going to be kind of floating up above us, sitting at this L2 gravitational point of 1.5 million kilometers from Earth. That's not the most important part. The most important part is that, and this is just initial talks, they got plans, but they don't have a budget or anything like that just yet, but they want to make the Habitable Worlds Observatory. So this would be an autonomous thing that could be serviced and even upgraded by robots instead of by human hands, and that makes it a little bit cheaper to operate, especially when you're talking about being in space. But by early 2040s, they could be looking for signs of life on Earth-like planets throughout the galaxy. Pretty interesting, actually. Exciting, to be honest, but at the same time, I do kind of feel like if we haven't seen aliens so far, there's a really possible reason for it that they just don't want to be seen, kind of thing. And this does sound a little bit like kind of like a global version of putting up a security camera and aiming it right at the neighbor's house instead of your backyard. Or if that's not creepy enough for you, it's kind of like sitting in the dark with binoculars and a cigarette, watching Yellowstone with the neighbors. Only they don't know about it. That's what it kind of feels like. The aliens might be like, honey, close the blinds. They're staring at us again. Yesterday is when the news broke. The Jeff Beck has passed away at the age of 78, an absolute legend in rock and roll history. One of the greatest guitarists of all time, often heralded as the top of the list. And died after a bout with bacterial meningitis, a very short stint being ill, and then unfortunately passed away peacefully in his sleep, which, I mean, you know, there's silver lining there, but it still is a bit tragic. And there's such an outpouring from the different musicians who either were inspired by him, or who had a chance to work with him in their lifetime, in their career. Jack White was sharing live footage of a collaboration with Jeff Beck in tribute to what he called the innovator extraordinaire. Fellow Yardbird Jimmy Page kind of led the guard, led the march when it came to shouting out this incredible human. And you've even got the likes of Johnny Depp saying that he visited him at his bedside just recently, and he's absolutely devastated. He was very recently, making big plans to make more music happen, more live shows happen with Jeff Beck. So clearly this was something that came as a big shock and a big surprise to everyone involved, and he will be absolutely missed.
Hey Alexa, play the Steve Reeve podcast.
Let me bring you into my world a little bit. I bought a new computer chair. Full disclosure, I splurged. I did. I mean, I was feeling so uncomfortable. I literally had an old second, third, fourth hand, big, beautiful, fake leather office chair, an executive chair. But the problem was it leaned to one side. It was a little tilty. That's why I managed to get it into my possession. Looked great. My back was just screaming because of it. And got a new one because I was like, I need something that's got the support, something that's, I need to spend a little bit of money, but full disclosure, I splurged, and it looks good too. It doesn't just feel good, it looks really, really cool. You just feel good sitting in it, and then also just seeing it across the room. I'm like, yeah, that looks good. But no sooner than I had put the piece together that I freaked out, thinking that our two cats that we have at home would have it in shreds by the time that I'm home from the show today. So I left it draped in a blanket to protect it from the kitty claws, and now, thinking about it, I spent so much money on my flashy, shiny new chair that has officially now become a cat bed. But at least they're not scratching the really cool design that I paid to be able to see that I can no longer see. Smart thinking, real forethought. One of my first memories of knowing the name Jeff Beck before really, really knowing who Jeff Beck was thanks to Wayne's World 2. And, I learned a lot about the headbanger rock and roll scene from those movies growing up, before ravenously consuming as much rock as I could when I was just a little bit older, right? Actually getting into where all that reference came from. But I knew that movie by heart as well. There's a few comedies from my childhood that I think still know every single line to, and those Wayne's World movies are absolutely there. And I would walk around the house quoting this story in its entirety as performed by the incredible Ralph Brown in Wayne's World 2.
I remember one time I was in a place like this. Sri Lanka, formerly Ceylon. It was about 3 in the morning, and I was looking for 1,000 brown M&Ms to fill a brandy glass, or Ozzy wouldn't go on stage that night. So, Jeff Beck pops his head round the door and mentions there's a little sweet shop on the edge of town.
So we go, and it's closed. So there's the three of us breaking into this little sweet shop on the edge of town at 3 in the morning. I loved it. It's such a great, great scene. And whole lot better if you actually listen to the music that Jeff Beck has made throughout his career, too.
Friday.
It's not brand new, but it seems to be a really popular thing for this January, but it's the 1,000 Hours Outside Challenge. This is kind of created, there's even a website for it, like created with intention, not just something that's kind of been grassroots and picked up by TikTok videos or something like that. It was intentional. And the idea is to combat the fact that we spend so much time with our screens. Kids consuming about 12,000 hours a year through various devices, screens, and ways of being entertained. And I gotta say, I'm probably pretty close to that myself. And don't spend nearly enough time outside. I do understand the draw. Outside is great, and we should be spending a lot of time enjoying nature, experiencing nature, touching grass, as the kids say today. But 1,000 hours outside, I did the math. I was trying to figure out, what does that actually work out to? 52 weeks in a year, works out to just shy of about 20 hours a week. And I thought, well, you know what? Camping is your friend in this equation, for sure. I mean, you go camping for 2 nights, let's call that 48 hours, just clean, even number. That's saving it up. Do 2 of those stints in 1 month. I mean, that is more than the month's worth of outside hours cleared off of the calendar. You're set. You're good. You've earned yourself weeks on end doing nothing but sitting in front of your TV screen, right? Movies, TV shows, podcasts, video games, you name it. That's how to do it. Camp, and then camp out on your couch. Time for some music news headlines, and as the outpouring of remembrances of praise and of love for Jeff Beck and his influence now are also reeling after the death of Lisa Marie Presley, the only child of singer Elvis, and at the age of 54, passing away after a brief issue with cardiac arrest. She was visited by paramedics who found signs of life, brought her to a hospital. Unfortunately, she did not survive. Ringo Starr is going to be making a little stop around North America. Several tour dates announced with the All-Star Band. He said, I love playing with the All-Stars. Can't wait to be back out on the road again. Mainly going to be along the West Coast throughout May and June, and as well 3 nights mini residency in Las Vegas, but 19 dates on the tour, and none coming too close to home. They do say North America, but as usual, it's mainly just America.
Thanks for listening to the Steve Reeve Podcast from 100.5 Cruise FM.
Joining me right now, always happy to have a guest here in studio, face-to-face. We've got Keith Smith of Public Works. So, you're the director of Public Works right here in town. Tell us more about yourself and, of course, what is Public Works, in case people aren't aware.
Excellent. Thank you, and I'm so happy to be here. My name is Keith Smith. I am the director of Public Works, and our Public Works department is exactly as it sounds. It works for the public. There's 7 disciplines within Public Works, that being roads, and you see the winter maintenance crews out every winter. That'd be parks. That'd be transit. You see all of our buses going around. We have fleet, all of our fleet services, facilities. We also take care of all of our rural operations, being Anzac, GLE, and also Fort Chipewyan. So we are quite a busy department, and we are a department that's always interacting with the public, and our primary focus is to provide the services that our residents expect.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure that there would be a lot of things that people would be surprised to learn about Public Works and the operations. I mean, one thing off the top of my head is that a lot of people, I think, that end up in the sort of Fort McMurray bubble. You know, they live, work, operate just in town. Sometimes don't think about just how far-reaching and big the RMWB really is. Fort Chipewyan being one that can only be accessed by road part of the year, kind of thing. So So big part of what you guys do is facilitating all of that, organizing all that. And winter maintenance is top of mind right now because, of course, we got the snow on the ground. So what's it like there for winter maintenance? What is some of the things you guys focus on this time of year?
Well, this time of year, winter maintenance is obviously the priority for a roads crew, keeping our roads open. And this year has been a fantastic year with winter maintenance. The primary reason for that is our residents. Our residents are key when it comes to the winter maintenance program and a lot of the programs that we provide. But this year, the residents are removing their vehicles from the roads. The compliance rate is the highest I've seen it, and therefore the efficiency rate is the highest I've seen it. Individuals move their vehicles off the roads. Our crews can get in and do what they need to do, and it's been amazing. Settling
into the winter maintenance zone sort of plan for things after a few years, I think, right?
Yes.
People are kind of getting the idea and knowing how to find out if they're active, right?
Yes. At the end of the day, there's 2 days a month that residents have to move their vehicle. But this year, like I said before, a big, huge shout out to our residents. Thank you so much for removing your vehicle. It gives us the opportunity to do what we need to do, provide the service we need to provide, and it makes us very happy.
We've got more with Keith Smith, Director of Public Works, coming up in just minutes. Continuing our conversation with Director of Public Works here in the RMWB, Keith Smith. Well, and I don't want to tempt, Old Man Winter, Mother Nature, whatever you want to call it, but we haven't seen a ton of snow just in the last little while here, which is great too, right? That absolutely helps things. I'm sure that working in public works, there's a lot that you find that the public might have a little misconception about or might not quite understand fully. What are some of the misconceptions that you encounter, and what do you want people to know?
If we focus on winter maintenance, some of the misconceptions is, first of all, that the municipality makes money or gathers money from towing, and that's not a reality. The municipality makes zero money from towing. There's no money to be made in towing. Actuality, when it comes to towing, is a lose-lose from both the residents and the municipality. The residents, again, as their vehicle towed, which is never a nice feeling.
Of course not.
Pay that bill, and at the end of the day, what my crews want to do on the street is keep the roads open, provide that service for residents, and when the vehicles are on the street or they need to be towed, it slows us down, and we cannot be efficient and cannot provide that service, and that really is not what we're there for, and that really is not a great measure. And also at the same time, I think it's because of some of the misconceptions with winter maintenance is we get the question quite often is, why can't you clear snow all in one day or all in 1 week? And the unfortunate reality is that in the urban service area of Fort McMurray, there's over 500 streets, and in order to clear these streets and remove all snow, there's not enough equipment nor manpower in the city, nor probably in the province to provide that. And also, if we did that, or even had the ability to do something like that, that would just clog our roads. The roads would be clogged, the snow dumps would be clogged, it would be just chaos on the street. So it can't be done. And we get in there and we plow, and the number one priority for our winter maintenance zones is to keep the roads passable for residents to be able to get throughout the city, and also at the same time, if there's emergencies, emergency crews needs to get to the people.
Yeah, and people living on roads that are feeling that they want a little extra attention, or they're wondering what the schedule is kind of looking like, they can get that information, right?
Absolutely.
They can reach out and find out what the story is, or at least report that their vehicle's not quite clear in the snow, or whatever the case may be individually, right? They can reach out.
Absolutely. We have alerts that people can sign up for. We have, the websites. There's a multitude of different areas people can go to, but ultimately at the end of the day, if you're not sure, call Pulse. Pulse is the number one link into the municipality and what's happening.
Yeah, you can report things, you can ask your questions, get your answers there all in one stop. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to come in, Keith. Best of luck with the rest of winter and, of course, the rest of the year for Public Works, a job that never ends and is kind of thankless, so thank you.
Well, thank you, and before I leave, I want to give a huge shout-out again to our residents. Thank you so much. You guys are the number one player in this winter maintenance zone, and a huge shout-out to our crews. They're doing a fantastic job this year.
Transmission over. Want more Steve? New podcast episodes happen every Friday, or just tune into the Steve Reeve Show. Weekday mornings starting at 5:30 a.m. on 100.5 Cruise FM.